Hello everybody, welcome. Today is our third and last day. We are glad you're all here. So today our MC is Laila. She is currently a junior here at Wheaton High School. And she's also passionate about programs here at Wheaton High School that promotes youth growth as well as African Americans as well as women and everybody in general. Also, she's not only passionate about her academics, but she's really involved and she's really passionate about reading itself. And she is today interviewing Miss Hammond Davis with us. And I will leave it to Laila to continue. Thank you for having us today.
Thank you, Lenchel. Well, if you did not know already, this is Mrs. Hammond Davis, and she currently works at the College and Career Center, which is located in the counseling department, if you did not know. Mrs. Hammond Davis has worked for Montgomery County Public Schools for over 27 years. She is currently the College and Careers Advisor at Wheaton High School, as I said before. And she has helped students receive more than $21 million, and this was just last year, in scholarships. Mrs. Hammond Davis has her own college consulting business, and you can find this business at collegeandcareeradvice.com if you're ever interested. She was also a radio talk show host on her own Saturday morning radio show on WOL 1450, a Radio 1 station, the College and Career Information Hour. She is a public and motivational speaker. She's the author of 2 books, If I Knew Then, What I Know Now, College and Financial Aid Planning from a Parent's Perspective book and workbook. She attended Maple Springs Bible College and seminar majoring in biblical studies. She is an ordained minister and married to Ronald Davis and has 2 children, Dana and Ron Jr. And she has 2 grandchildren, Dania and Jason.
Yep.
So, thank you for coming, Ms. Hammond.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you all so much for coming.
Okay, and let's get into the questions. So
Okay.
first, would you like to share a quick little overview of your book?
Yeah, so my book is about college and financial aid planning. And I wrote the book because I felt that parents and students really didn't know when to start the process. I believe the process starts very, very early. And I learned this from all the mistakes I had and when it was time to send my own son to school. So the reason why I wrote the book, the main reason, was to tell you all the mistakes I made and not to make the same mistakes.
Nice. So how long did it take you to write this book?
This book took me 3 weeks to write.
Wow.
The reason why it took me 3 weeks is because it was so in me. I was trying to get it out. I worked at a school, just like Wheaton High School. I started at Northwood High School, and I didn't have a lot of time to spend with students. So I had so much to say, but I didn't have time to say it. So I started that radio station, the College and Career Information Hour, and I started to just talk about it. And then all of a sudden I started saying, wow, if I knew then what I know now, boy, I would have done things differently. So I had an author on my show. So college representatives and scholarship organizations would come on my show and I would interview them. And I had an author on my show. After he heard about me saying, if I knew then what I know now, about 100 times on the show, he said, you know what, you need to think about writing. And I was like, really? He was like, yeah. And he said, write what you talk about all the time, every Saturday morning at 8 o'clock on this radio show. So I said, okay. So I just started writing. It didn't make sense at first, but I just started writing everything that was in me, everything that I wanted to tell parents and students about college, about financial aid, about all the things that I know about now. I know what colleges want. I know what you need to do. I know what you need to do to start and when you need to start, what you need to do, the leadership skills and all of that. So I started writing that. It took me about 3 weeks, and then I put it in order of chapters and all of that. I had a publisher who helped self-published authors like myself, And so he helped me edit the book. And then he took it and he did the copyright. He did put it on Amazon, put it on Kindle. I had to come up with the title. I had to come up with the cover of the book. And I just said, I want puzzles, because that's what it is. It's a puzzle. And so he came up with some graphics, and I finally decided on which one I would like. And so that's how it started. And then the same with the workbook. The workbook is the same. It's just a copy of, the chapter 1. You read chapter 1. It talks about teamwork is the key. The workbook says, who's your team? List those people who are your team. Your parents, your community, your friends, your church members, or if you don't go to church, your organizations. What's your team? What makes up your team, and what are their roles and responsibilities in helping you get to where you would like to go?
Nice. Well, it actually sounds like you answered the second question. But in case you have a different response, what or who sparked your interest in writing this book?
So I think my interest sparked with my passion and my love for young people. I think that really started it. And I did it because I paid entirely too much money for college, and so for my child. And I really do think that parents and students need to know well ahead of time how to become the need for the college. When you become the need for the college will pay you to come. So that's the reason why I wrote the book. And I hope I answered that question you just asked.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good.
Thank you. All right. So did your career have an impact on
It sure did. It really did. I got interested in the college and career position. I started out as a secretary in Montgomery County Public Schools. And the reason why I got interested is because back in 2019, before you guys were born, like in 1999, 1980, 1998, it was time to think about my son. And my son graduated in 2000. And so I had to help him with the college process. So, I would go to the counseling department and try to make an appointment with them as a parent. But I know they didn't have a lot of time to spend with me. Even though they did have time to spend with my child, I need to figure out how to help him. Okay, so I wanted to know everything. So I just said, okay, it's time for me to, what was the question again? Because I just forgot. What was the question?
It's okay. I said,
I do that all the time.
I said, did your career have an impact?
Yes, it did. Yes, so what happened, I started helping my son at his school, and then I started helping people at my church. And then I was working at Argyle Middle School at the time, and Dr. Muggy was the principal at the time. It's a while ago, okay? And so there was a job that came up at Northwood for the college and career coordinator. And I had done everything that it said with the church and with the school. So I applied for the job and I got it.
Wow.
And so this is the job I believe that I was born to do.
Yes, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So what did you plan to accomplish from this book?
So I plan to accomplish having these book talks all over the nation. So my plan, and I'm going to put this on tape and I'm going to continue speaking it, 2021, Ms. Hammond Davis plans to retire from Montgomery County Public Schools. I'm putting it out there, yes. So 8th grade students, when you walk across the stage and graduate, I'm walking behind you. So my goal is to take this book and have book talks all over the nation to help people all over America figure out what they want to do, how they want to do it, and become our great future leaders of America. That is my goal. That's one of my goals. So I will have some consultants, but my goal is to travel with this book because it was written for America.
Well, you heard it here first. So, do you have any people who have been influenced by your book?
Oh my goodness, yes. I have a lot of people who have purchased the book, one in particular. I have a family called Lewis, the Lewis family, and one of the young people, the parents bought my book when the student was in 6th grade. and they read the book. They did everything that the book said. They got involved with extracurricular activities. The young man was interested in STEM. He did all of these things. He got involved in NSBE. He got involved in FIRST. He did summer programs and all of that. He decided that he wanted to do the U.S. Naval Academy. He wanted to try that. So he did the summer program with the U.S. Naval Academy, and guess what? He's at the U.S. Naval Academy. So that's where he is now. I think it's his third year. He's a midshipman at the U.S. Naval Academy. Free tuition. His parents make a lot of money, but he didn't have to pay anything. He was the need for the U.S. Academy. So he read the book, the parents followed everything they were supposed to, and that's just one example. There's many.
Oh goodness, I wonder if it's too late for me to get this one.
Never.
So, what was one of the greatest experiences of writing this book?
So one of the greatest experiences was like, seeing the book and knowing that you're helping families, so the Lewis family and the other families who I've helped. That's the greatest feeling, to know that you've written something that's going to help people throughout, their lifetimes. And I think that if you don't do something that is beneficial to others, you're really missing a disservice. So I'm excited when one person purchases the book and they'll say, oh my goodness, this book really helped me in certain ways. So, yeah.
So, other than your plans of retirement, are you planning on writing more?
Yeah, so I am planning on writing more. I was thinking about, so my students at Northwood, a lot of them have now gone to graduate school. Some of them have, they're in jobs now. So the next book I think I'm about writing is If I Knew Then What I Know Now, College and Financial Aid Planning from a Student's Perspective. So it would be from students who have gone through the process and can tell you what they've done and how they did it. And I want to hear both the good and the bad and the ugly. So you will have students who didn't do well, in high school, and maybe, they have some things that they want to talk about, so other people may not do those things. And then you might have some people who are very successful, like a Clifford Glover, who I love, who's now an attorney. He's married with a beautiful baby, and I've followed him ever since he was in 9th grade at Northwood High School. Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that's all for my questions, but I know someone else in the crowd has a question for the wonderful Mrs. Hammond Davis. Any questions?
There is one thing. You had a question on there
Sure.
about the challenges.
Yeah.
I do have a challenge.
Ooh,
So
okay.
the challenge was, I want this book to be in different languages. So my challenge is to find some people or someone to translate it in Spanish and other languages, because I think that everyone needs to, understand the book. So I have to understand that not everyone speaks English, and I want to see if I can get it translated. So that's one of my challenges, is to find someone who can translate the book and the workbook for me.
That's nice. That'll be great for everyone.
Yes.
Any questions?
Yes.
So between writing and working here and the radio show you do and everything else, you seem to be very busy. How do you find time and energy for it?
I don't sleep. So it is time management. So say for example, when I was writing the book, of course I worked every day. So I would get up in the morning, go to work, come home, take a little nap, and then start writing. On the weekends, Panera Bread was my friend, because that's where I was, writing the book. When I had the radio show, my radio show was at 8 o'clock Saturday morning. So I would get up, get breakfast, I wouldn't eat first. I would get up, go to Silver Spring, to the Radio 1 station, and then be there from 8 until 9, and then I would go to breakfast and then come back and go directly to Panera Bread. And I'm married, so I had to spend time with the hubby, and the grandchildren and all. But you find time for the things that you really want to do. And it's amazing. Sometimes I find that one of my problems is to think. Don't think about it, just do it. Because when I think about it, I've thought about it for an hour and I could have done it. So when I do it, I'm like, oh my God, that didn't take much time at all. Yes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Ms. Hammond Davis, you mentioned two organizations, Radio One and NSBE. Could you elaborate about what Radio One is? Because that's very important.
Yeah.
And I used to be a member of NSBE back in another life. Could you
Okay.
tell us what that stands for and why
Yes.
these two organizations are so important?
So Radio One is a collection of a lot of different radio stations. This lady named Kathy Hughes started one radio called, it was 1450 AM, and that was actually the one that I had my college and career information radios. That's where I did my broadcasting. But she then created WYCB, and then there's some other ones, and they all follow this umbrella of Radio One. And Kathy Hughes is the person who created that. She is the CEO and the founder of Radio One. And now, they used to be in Lanham, Maryland, but now they moved to Silver Spring, right here on Georgia Avenue, close to Wayne Avenue, in a beautiful building. And so, yeah, that's how Radio One got started. They do have, sometimes they will offer internships for students who are interested in communication, okay, or students who are thinking about writing or journalism. So you could definitely find out about that. The NSBE is the National Society of Black Engineers. And that started, the young man who I talked about, Lewis, I can't think of his first name real quick. Wait a minute. Because I wrote down his name here, because Miss Hammond Davis, see, I'm getting older, right? So I can't remember everybody. Aaron Lewis is his name. He started with the NSBE program when he was in middle school, maybe elementary school. They did STEM, robotics, and things like that. And NSBE is an African-American owned organization. It's a nonprofit organization specifically through students. It started through students. And now the NSBE juniors are in high school, and then NSBE, they have a organization at most of the colleges, including the University of Maryland. And then the students, after they've graduated, then they give back to those programs. So NSBE also has scholarships and all. And we have a NSBE team here at Wheaton High School. Yeah.
Ms. Hammond Davis,
Yeah.
one thing I would like to say is that Catherine Hughes
Yes.
is a woman, and she is African American as well.
African-American, yes,
So
she
it's very
is.
important during Women's History Month to
That's
promote
right.
women, and we need to let our women who are minorities
Mhm.
know that there are all kind of wonderful activities
Exactly.
and things that they can do. There's no limit, no matter
Right.
who you are.
Absolutely none. Absolutely none for men, women, whoever. There are no limits. The only limits are the ones you put on yourself. So the other thing, there was a question about, this is what I want to leave with you all. In these walls are education, knowledge, everything you need to succeed. Take advantage of this free education we have in America. You have the opportunity to be the next future leaders of America. Even if you don't like the teacher, you don't have to like them, but you have to do the things that they're asking you to do. Believe me, there are some people I don't like either. But we have to do these things in order to make money, in order to learn. Take an advantage of this education. Don't take it lightly. There are so many students who come back later on, or they'll see me on Facebook or whatever, and they'll say, Miss Hammond Davis, do you remember me? You know, and I'll say, oh yeah, I remember you. And they'll say, you know, I wish I would have paid more attention in school. I wish I would have done this in school. And now they're finding themselves in jobs that they're like, you know what, I could have done better. You have the opportunity right now to do whatever you want to do when you leave here, but it's going to take education, okay? It's going to take education. If you don't go to college right away and you go to a job and you have some type of a certificate. In order to move up, you do have to have some type of post-secondary education, which means education outside of high school, in order to move up in that organization. So it's very important that you take advantage of everything. Time management is important. I can give you the keys of this book right here. Good grades, test scores, tutoring, where you're weak. If you are weak, there's tutoring right here in this building. That's not a lot of high schools, but you have tutoring right here in this school to help you. If you are strong in a specific subject, attack it and even go higher in that, okay? All right? So make sure that you are in extracurricular activities, doing something outside, doing something inside, showing some type of leadership ability, helping others who are coming behind you, tutoring other people. That's the need of the college. Make yourself the need of the college, and you won't have to worry about paying. Okay? All right.
Thank you for sharing
You
all
are
those
welcome.
wonderful insights. Well, before you go, we would like to give you a token of our appreciation.
Well, thank you.
This beautiful bag.
Ooh. I always need bags because I do a lot of stuff, and so I'm looking for, taking my books and all that stuff. This is great. Thank you so much.